our story, we talked about, instead of just saying I was sad, remember we talked about adding more details of what the person did and said, right? So saying I'm sad, I laid my head down on the desk and said, I'm so mad, or I'm so upset that my friend didn't play with me, or something like that. So we use what they say and what they did, and just instead of just saying I'm sad, he was sad, or she was happy, or I was excited, we say what we did and said. So today we're going to look at the same story, Too Many Tamales. Who can tell me what happened in this story so far? You didn't read it all. What's happened so far, Emma?
She lost her mother's ring.
Right. And what were they doing when she lost her mother's ring? What were they doing, Corbin?
They were cooking the tamales.
Tamales. Yes, they were making tamales for Christmas dinner. Yes, that's what they were doing. Boys and girls, your pencils should not be in your hands. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to go through here just the first few pages. It was snowing outside. It was Christmas. Trees glittered in the window. They were making tamales with her mother. Maria and her mother. She felt so grown up. She's wearing an apron. And she was talking about how she saw her mother's ring, that she thought to herself how she'd like to have the ring on. And then as her mother went out, she put the ring on. And she looked at it on her thumb. And then her mom came back and she said, I'll bring this to your father. Why don't you go up to play? And then she ran upstairs with her cousins. And then when she was there, she said, the ring! She screamed. Everyone stared at her. What ring? Dolores asked. Without answering, Maria ran to the kitchen. Now today, we're going to talk about how we can use a more specific word than said. Because a lot of times we go, Sydney said, Heather said, Kinsler said, Gracie said. We say that word said a lot in our stories. But there's a different way you can write it that shows a little bit more about what's happening in the stories. So I do like the word, and I'm not saying you can't ever use the word said. But there's other words you can say than just said, and that's what happens in this story. Right here, the ring. He didn't say the ring, she said. What did he say? She?
Yes.
No. Screamed. So instead of saying she said, he said she screamed. Okay? Or, what ring? Did that say Dolores said? No. What ring, Dolores? Asked. So that's another way to say it. Asked. Let's see if we can find some different ones as I finish this story. The steaming tamale lay piled on the platter. The ring is inside one of the tamales, she thought to herself. It must have come off when I was kneading the masa. Look at her eyes. Dolores, Teresa, and Danny skidded into the kitchen behind her. Help me! Maria cried. So what did they say instead of said?
Help.
No. Gracie? No, that's what she said. Help me. Instead of saying Maria said, the author said what, Heather? Cried. Instead of said, he said cried. Help me, Maria cried. They looked at each other. Danny picked up first. What do you want us to do? Eat them, she said. If you bite something hard, tell me. So here the author said. That's okay. You don't have to say a different word every time. Sometimes you can say said, but sometimes think about a different word that might be better than said. The four of them started eating. They ripped off the husk and bit into them. The first one was good, the second one pretty good, but by the third tamale they were tired of the taste. Keep eating, Maria scolded. So she could say, the author could have said, keep eating, Maria said. Instead of said, he said, scolded. Do you know what scolded means? Like your mother might scold you when you do something bad. Like, don't do that. That's scolding. She's saying, keep eating. He's scolding them to keep eating. Corn husks littered the floor. Their stomachs were stretched till They hurt, but the cousins kept eating until one tamale remained on the plate. Hadn't found it yet. This must be it, she said. So use the word said again. That's okay. The ring must be in that one. We'll each take a bite. You first, Danny. Danny was the youngest, so he didn't argue. He took a bite. Nothing. Dolores took a bite. Nothing. Teresa took a big bite. Still nothing. It was Maria's turn. She took a deep breath and slowly, gently bit into the last mouthful of a tamale. Nothing. Didn't any of you bite something hard? Maria asked. Again, they used the word asked instead of said. Danny frowned. I think I swallowed something hard, he said. So this one, that time they used said. Swallowed it, Maria cried. That's much better than said, right? Swallowed it, Maria said, or swallowed it, Maria cried. Cried is a stronger word. We got that one on there. Her eyes big with worry. She looked inside his mouth. Teresa said, using the word said, I didn't bite into anything hard, but I think I'm sick. She held her stomach with both hands. Maria didn't dare look into Teresa's mouth. She wanted to throw herself on the floor and cry. The ring was now in her cousin's throat, or worse, his belly. How in the world could she tell her mother? But I have to, she thought. She could feel tears pressing to get out as she walked into the living room where the grown-ups sat talking. They chattered so loudly that Maria didn't know how to interrupt. Finally, she tugged on her mother's sleeve. What's the matter? Her mother asked. They used the word asked. She took Maria's hand. I did something wrong, Maria sobbed. Ooh, that's a good one, right? Sobbed instead of said. I did something wrong, Maria said, or I did something wrong, Maria sobbed. Sobbed is a lot stronger word. Okay. What? Her mother asked. Maria thought about the beautiful ring that was now sitting inside Danny's belly and got ready to confess. Then she gasped. The ring was on her mother's finger, bright as ever. The ring, Maria nearly screamed. We got screamed already on there. Maria's mother scraped off a flake of dried masa. You were playing with it, she said, smiling gently. I wanted to wear it, Maria said, looking down at the ring. Then she told them all about how they'd eaten the tamales. Her mother moved the ring a little on her finger. It winked a silvery light. Maria looked up and Aunt Rosa winked at her too. Well, it looks like we all have to cook up another batch of tamales, Rosa said cheerfully. Maria held her full stomach as everyone filed into the kitchen, joking and laughing. At first she still felt like crying as she kneaded a great bowl of masa next to Aunt Rosa. As she pumped her hands up and down, a leftover tear fell from her eyelashes into the bowl, and for just a second rested on her finger, sparkling like a jewel. Then Rosa nudged her with her elbow and said, Hey, Nina, it's not so bad. Everyone knows that the second batch of tamales always tastes better than the first, right? When Dolores, Teresa, and Danny heard that from the other side of the room, they let off a groan the size of 24 tamales. You think they want more tamales? No, probably not. Then Maria couldn't help herself. She laughed, and pretty soon everyone else was laughing, including her mother. And when Maria put her hands back into the bowl of masa, the leftover tear was gone. Okay, so can you think of some other words you could say instead of said? So she said, she screamed, she asked, she cried, she scolded, she sobbed. What's another one, Isaiah? Yelled. So saying he yelled, you could say, or he said, you could say he yelled. Heather? Gasped. Oh my, he gasped. Oh my, he said. Place? Begged. Ooh, I like that one. Please, can I go to the store? I begged. Instead of I said. Emma? Or Emsley? Told. Okay, I told him. Yeah, we could maybe do told. Okay. Chase? I talked? No, I don't think we would do that. Good try. Sydney? I worried? Let me think about this. I don't think that's how you would say something. Worried. Gracie? Told? Told is the same as told. Huh? Tells? Oh. Well, told would be what we would say when we do a quotation mark. Yes, Emma? Did you forget? Okay, let me know if you remember. Let's think of some other. What about whispered? We even had that in another story we just read earlier, I think. Whispered. Yes? Okay, tell me another one. Worriedly said? Well, you would say, I worriedly said. You wouldn't just say, he's coming home later worriedly. You couldn't say it like that. Okay, what about called? Okay, or explained. He explained. Or agreed. I like ice cream too, she agreed. Or bragged. Bragged. I'm better than you, he bragged. Joked. And sighed. Those are all some more there. Did you think of it, Emma? What was it? What? Argued. Do we have argued up there? No. I don't think we do. That's a good one. Argued. Okay. Yes. Last one, Xavier. Huh? Disagreed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So instead of saying the word said, even though we still can say the word said when we do some quotation marks, these are all the other things we could say that would help us, the reader, understand the story better, right? Instead of just saying, he went to the store, he said, say, he went to the store, he gasped, because that makes it totally different. So, whenever you're writing your stories, I want you to look back and see if there might be a better or stronger word you could use instead of said. So we're just going to look back at our stories here in a minute. I'm going to do mine. So I got to right here and I said, my dad said, the barn is gone, he said. Well, I could do something better than said there, right? So I'm going to look here and I'm going to see, I think I'm going to say screamed. Because he did. He screamed it. He screamed. I could say he gasped, but remember, right before this sentence, I say gasped. I heard him walk to the window and gasp. So then I'm going to use a different word. The barn is gone, he screamed. He screamed. So that's a different way I could say instead of said, because that helps the reader understand the story better. Okay, so when we get back from specials, you're going to work on your story and you're going to see where you can put a more interesting word instead of said. So use interesting, specific words in your writing. This is word choice, picking a better word instead of said in your writing. We're not going to write a whole long time.